Good morning, Year 10. Welcome to another poetry lesson. We've actually covered all the poems now, so you should have them all in your books with the annotations and the notes. So fantastic, I hope that's the case. Today we're going to practice or begin to practice what it is that you actually have to do in the GCSE with this knowledge that you've now acquired. But before we get on to that, I want you to do now. Write 3 ways that a window and a mirror are both similar and different. For example, they are both made of glass, but you can only see through a window. The point of this is that we're going to be comparing poems, so we need to be thinking in that way. So 3 ways that a window and a mirror are both similar and different. Just 5 minutes for that. Okay, the learning objective today is to compare a poem we've studied with a poem we have not seen before, which is the first part of what you have to do with the poetry in the GCSE. Part A is you compare one of the poems that we've studied with a poem that the examiners give you. So as ever, it's about developing a skill. So what I want you to do, Year 10, is to pile into this and have a go. And then when you send it to me, we can build on that. The worst, and there are a couple of you who are famous for this, is if you don't do it or you don't give it your best shot, because there's nothing for me to work with then. This is a skill. It's not a maths test. It's a skill that you have to do again and again and again until you get better. So prepare to fail first time, because that's how it is. Anyway, so the title is Comparing a Known Poem with an Unseen Poem. For today's lesson, you're going to need a pen, your exercise book, your literature exercise book, printed off copies of both the poems. You can work from the slides if you don't have access to a printer, though it is still doable. And as ever, if you need a new book, let me know and I'll get one sent to you. Let's go back over the Do Now quickly. You may have got different ones to me. Do Now review. They are both made of glass, but you can only see through the window. They both show your reflection, but a mirror is more effective. You can only look into one side of a mirror. You may have had others, but you get the idea. We're comparing 2 things that are quite similar, which is what we're doing when we do the poetry. Now here it is, an actual GCSE question. You get 2 questions on the poetry. This is the first one, part A, which you spend 45 minutes on, and then you spend just half an hour on the second part. Well, let's not worry about the second part now. Let's worry about this part. You're going to read the 2 poems below. They're on the next slide, and then answer part A. So this is part A. You're advised to spend about 45 minutes on it. Not too worried about the time today, Year 10. This is our first outing, so just have a go. So here's the question. Compare how the speakers in these poems present their feelings about the passing of time. You should consider ideas and attitudes in each poem, tone and atmosphere in each poem, the effects of the language and structure. That's exactly how the GCSE question will look. Obviously it won't be that question, but it will be something like it. Right, now we have studied Now by Robert Browning, the one on the right, but we haven't studied Hour by Carol Ann Duffy. We have studied another one of her poems, but not this one. So the first thing, of course, obviously, that you do is you read them. So I will read them now. Hour by Carol Ann Duffy. Love's time's beggar, but even a single hour, bright as a dropped coin, makes love rich. We find an hour together, spend it not on flowers or wine, but the whole of the summer sky in a grass ditch. For thousands of seconds we kiss, your hair like treasure on the ground, the Midas light turning your limbs to gold. Time slows, for here we are millionaires, backhanding the night so nothing dark will end our shining hour. No jewel hold a candle to the cuckoo's spit hung from the blade of grass at your ear. No chandelier or spotlight see you better lit than here. Now, time hates love, wants love poor, but love spins gold, gold, gold from straw. That's lovely. Right, and here's Now by Robert Browning. Out of your whole life give but one moment. All of your life that has gone before, all to come after it, so you ignore, so you make perfect the present, condense in a rapture of rage for perfection's endowment. Thought and feeling and soul and sense, merged in a moment which gives me at last you around me for once, you beneath me, above me, me. Sure that despite of time future, time past, this tick of our lifetime's one moment you love me. How long such suspension may linger, ah, sweet, the moment eternal, just that and no more. When ecstasy's upmost, we clutch at the core while cheeks burn, arms open, eyes shut and lips meet. Well, that's a bit racy. Right, now what we do with these is the first thing you would do in the exam is write a little critical paragraph at the top. But I've done that for you today. I'll explain that in just a minute. And then you're going to write one paragraph comparing tone and atmosphere using comparing ideas and attitudes using language and structure, and one paragraph comparing tone and atmosphere using language and structure, and then one paragraph comparing the different effects the poem have using language and structure. So I'll show you the critical statement in a minute, but first of all I'm going to show you how to do one of these paragraphs. So what are these poems about? They're both about time, aren't they, and about how fleeting it is, but if you can focus on one moment, it can be as beautiful as the whole of time. That is, broadly speaking, what both these poems are about. So I'm going to show you how to do a comparison paragraph using language and structure that relates to ideas and attitudes. So let's have a look here. We need a quote first of all. Let's have a look. In yellow, let's do this in red. Or yellow then. Love's time's beggar, but even a single hour bright as a dropped coin. So even a single hour bright as a dropped coin. That's the turn that off. That's the quote I'm going to use. That's the quote I'm going to use to compare to the other side. So even a single hour bright as a dropped coin. I'll take that quote. I'll show you what I'm going to do with it in just a minute. And over here, out of your life give but one moment. Those are the two quotes that I'm going to compare in the first paragraph. Okay, so on to the next slide then. Okay, now here's the critical statement which we talked about. Both these poems are sonnets. This is a form of poetry normally used to describe love. Both poets have used love as a way of talking about time. If you remember, sonnet is a poem with 14 lines in it, broadly speaking. So here's the ideas and attitudes paragraph. Both poems refer to the importance of moments. In hour, a single hour, bright as a dropped coin, shows the importance of small amounts of time. The word bright has connotations of value. Coming so early in the poem, this image sets the tone. Whereas in now, the opening line, out of your whole life give but one moment, also shows the importance of being aware of small amounts of time. The words one moment make the reader think that all of time is no more important than one beautiful moment. Again, this line is at the start of the poem and sets the tone for the rest of the poem. So let's go through the language and structure in there. So here's the language that we looked at in the previously in the when we were looking at the poem. So we've got the quote there, and then we've done our close word analysis on bright. Has connotations of value, showing that time focused this is value, and structurally, your structural point is coming so early in the poem. So where information is in a text is structure. So they're setting the tone very early on. Whereas, this is your connective there, you know, the word that connects causes you to be comparing them. Whereas in now, the opening line, out of your whole life, give but one moment, also shows the importance of being aware of small amounts of time. The words one moment make the reader think that all of time is no important than one beautiful moment. Again, this line is at the start of the poem and sets the tone for the rest of the poem. There you are. Now this is the one that I want you to upload onto Classcharts. I want you to write 2 paragraphs in the way that I've just shown you. So you go back to the poems, you find the quotes, you talk about the language and the structure, tone and atmosphere in each poem, and the effects that the poems create. So there you go. That's a piece of work I want you to put onto Classcharts. Good luck with that, and I can't emphasise enough how you need to just have a go, Year 10. This is difficult when you first do it, but like everything else, once you do it a few times, it becomes a lot easier. So anyway, well done, and I will look forward to receiving that, and see you next time.